Alright, just gonna add some quick tags and then get to it. Cool. Save that, close this, and let's get to it. Okay. I gotta pull up a list of what exactly is new in the new firmware. It seems surprisingly difficult to just find a fucking list. Maybe their YouTube channel has just the list. Jesus. Okay. So the only thing I've actually played with so far is the distortions, which are insane. They kind of give me everything I want out of the brute and the distortion filters on the, or I guess parameters on the filters, but like all the time, and that's kind of insane. And then there's a bunch of stuff on top of that you can't really do with those anyways, which I find really neat. And I swear it didn't have some sort of like bit crusher before. Maybe it did. Actually, let me double check. Does it have one that's not just one of these new ones? Because if I go to Alt, no, it didn't. Or they moved it. Maybe they moved it, because I swear the ensemble was 7 or 8 and not 6 before. I don't know. But I feel like I spent 30 minutes messing with it once and realized that they didn't have a bit crusher, which I thought was kind of sad. I don't care a ton about the effects routing, so it's kind of whatever. I don't care too much about the layer mode either. And it says 350 new presets, but I updated the firmware and I don't know that I got the new presets either. But maybe. I don't know if I would have had to do anything on top of updating the firmware to actually get... let me turn the fucking reverb down on the voice. I don't know if I would have had to do anything extra on top of what I had already done to get the actual presets. And while it's not in this list, I'd have to actually pull the video is like actually the only place to get real information. It's kind of wild. I don't want to have to watch the video during the stream, but I might, I guess. I might have to. Obnoxious. Yeah, well, okay, so I guess first, here's one of the lead sounds from, let me turn this all the way off. Here's one of the lead sounds, and I've messed with it a little bit, so I feel like, I've turned these up. Okay, so here's just the patch. Let me take out my effects loop. Here's the actual default. So this is called New Planet. It's from the Space Explorer pack, which you can actually get for free. So if you look up the Space Explorer pack, if you have a polybrute, you can just get this and download it for free. I will say Getting extra presets in the packs onto the polybrute is actually kind of ridiculous. Maybe the new update to the whatever they call it, the desktop thing, maybe that actually fixes it. But I will say, holy shit, the Polybrute Connect sucks. It has a frame rate of like 2 frames per second. It's really choppy and laggy, and it just feels bad to use, and it's really surprising. Like, I have all the Arturia plugins, and I've never experienced that with any of the rest of them. And it's a bummer, but it is what it is. I was expecting and hoping that the new update would actually fix some of that, but it does not. So I repeat, Polybrute Connect still sucks. I haven't had any issues with it actually connecting, which I had typically had issues with it connecting before, so at least I don't have that anymore. But I also had fixed that because I discovered that within my my Arturia settings, if I can't remember exactly how it went, but you have MIDI in and out. I discovered that if I disabled certain channels entirely, which I have never re-enabled, that the connection issues just stopped happening, and I was able to connect all the time. So I can't tell if that's because I fixed the problem before, or if the firmware actually, or the Polybrute Connect have actually gotten better. But either way, the experience of using Polybrute Connect still sucks. Now, I've not put a new preset pack onto the Polybrute since then, but with all the preset packs I added before the recent update, the preset packs come as a zip, essentially. They kind of come as a exe. You install them, but it's just shitting out all these files. And I swear one of them I actually got a zip. It's just a zip folder of these preset files. And what's weird is Polybrute Connect, for some reason, even if you install them to the preset directories where the Arturia software wants you to install them, right? Like the exe from the preset packs tries to install them into a directory. If you do that, Polybrute Connect does not, for any reason, know that they're there. It never loads them for you. So you have to go to the file system. Within Polybrute Connect, you have to like open and import presets, and you have to go find these presets yourself and import them. What's even weirder on top of that is that the Polybrute Connect only allows you to import files of a certain type. And I forget what they are, but they're like Polybrute presets or whatever, PBP or something similar. You get the idea. It has a unique file extension, and Connect itself does not let you change which file extension you're importing. However, none of the presets come with actual file extensions, so you have to by hand add file extensions to all the preset files so that you can then import them manually through Polybrute Connect. What the fuck? What the fuck? It blew my mind. I was so mad when I was dealing with it, and I was like, maybe I'm just fucking stupid. Maybe I'm really just fucking stupid, and there's an obvious, do the right thing button somewhere, but I could not find it. So for the first pack I did, I just diligently, like a good little boy, sat there and fucking updated all of these file names by myself, whatever, .pbz or whatever the fuck these things are called. And then after that, I downloaded like 15 or 20, the rest of the free preset packs, which is like 150 files, and I was like, I'm not doing this, so I ended up writing a Python script to actually update these file names and add the file extension, and then they all kind of work, but even then, you have to import them manually from Connect, and you have to, even once you have them in Connect, you then manually have to drop them over to the Polybrute, so it's a complete and total clusterfuck, and I'm really not sure what they were thinking. Either there's an obvious solution to all my problems and I'm a fucking idiot, which maybe. I'm totally open to that being the case. But if that's not the case, then what the fuck, Arturia? Because that workflow is completely busted. And I can't imagine that none of them ever downloaded the presets and installed or extracted them and were like, why don't these have file names? Anyways, or I'm sorry, file extensions. So that was a big rant, but you'll have to deal with that should you decide you want to fuck with the presets that come, from their website. But there's a pack called Space Explorer. It's actually awesome, despite the frustrations with actually getting it onto the damn machine. And this is easily my favorite of the patches, or one of them. It's called New Planet. I guess it's the 16th-ish one in the list, because I imported these in order at the time. I don't know where that kick sound is coming from. It must be from something else in Ableton getting a signal. Yeah, it's XO. It's kind of cool. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off, sorry. Cool, okay, so we've got this preset. Okay, so that's the preset, that's how it comes, and I typically immediately pump up the brute factor here, and I also like to change the shape of the, which one is this, the Steiner filter, and turn it into a high pass so that I can crank the cutoff down and then slam the resonance, because that actually, so by doing a high pass, the cutoff really represents the lowest signal, so by opening it fully, and then cranking the resonance, you're actually adding to the low end. Dial that back just a little bit. Now I'm going to make sure VCO2 is all the way in, and I'm going to turn the sub oscillator all the way up. So again, this is me just trying to get it to be the beefiest I can. And then I'm essentially going to do something similar with the ladder filter. Turn the distortion up. Okay, so now I'm actually going to back the brute factor and the distortion all the way off. Okay, so now here's the whole point, right? You hit the type on the modulation effect, which is separate from the reverb and the delay so you've got, by default, you've got chorus, phaser, and then alt, and alt used to have a bunch of stuff, and I swear there used to be something else here. Ensemble is 6. We can't actually really hear that super well because I don't have this running in stereo for reasons, but don't worry about it. But I swear there used to be something else in that list beyond these 6. I could be wrong, but if you hit it again, it goes to 3 lights. And I don't even know if that's super visible here, but basically all these are lit up. And now I'm in the distortion thing. So if I go through these, you can hear no difference yet, but now I'm going to bring it in. Even that one alone is awesome. What's really cool about this, the coolest thing about this, in my opinion, let me dial this all the way back. So again, here's the preset. if I bring the brute factor and the distortion in, you can hear like all this sort of stuff happening on top of just adding distortion and adding, the brute factor distortion sort of thing. It's kind of more than that because this is happening within the filters, right? So there's a bunch of other shit that's interacting, and you're not just getting this super clean distortion. So again, the distortion here is all the way off. This is just bringing the brute factor and distortion back in. So it's more than just distortion on the entire signal, right? It's not like an after. It's not like a post effect. It's happening within the chain of stuff, and I don't really understand exactly how this patch is set up. I'm sure we could go through it or whatever, but the main takeaway being it adds a bunch of other effects, and you can hear those. It's like artifacts that's happening as it's interacting through the rest of the circuit. So again, here's no distortion from anything. This is just the patch. Now bring in just the brute factor. Again, so you hear how it's not just a clean sort of post-effect distortion. It's doing a lot more. By distorting, the signal post-filter, it's, I don't know, I'm not a fucking synth expert, but however it's interacting with the rest of the circuit is adding more. It's taking that distorted signal from the filter and then doing stuff to it. Now with the distortion itself from the ladder filter, and again, these are running in I'm actually not sure if these are series or parallel in this particular patch. I'd have to twiddle the knob to actually find out. But you can see that it's running all the VCOs and the noise through both. And this doesn't even feel like it's having an effect. But now, with this post effect, we can do this. Whoops. And this is a new thing. This is the signal as it's currently set up without distorting inside of what's happening with the filter. We can just distort at the end. Like we take the final signal and distort. This is kind of what I'm more looking for from a distortion. Now, don't get me wrong, especially the brute factor can be awesome. I mean, crank this up even with the distortion. Like, that has its own character, and it's interesting and it's not invalid in any way, but having this like separate distortion now post effect is awesome. Now of course the downside is that you can kind of only use one of these, and maybe some of the new effect routing stuff makes it to where you can actually use sort of a multiple of these effects, but as far as I understand it currently, my current understanding is that this is it right now. Now, on top of that, we actually have, if I could get it to go back without switching, which is kind of another downside, it's a weird thing. So, like, once I've got these three lights on, if I do something else, let's say cut off, or maybe not. So now that I'm no longer in this menu, maybe if I hold. Oh, okay, so you can hold. I'm an idiot. There we go. We don't just have this one distortion type, so we actually have a bunch of distortion types. So here's number 2, again, normal patch. to about 75% distortion. That's a lot of fun. So now we can actually, let's try the third. That's a good example of how it's actually, so I'm going to turn hold mode on, and then I'm going to play with the parameters over here. Now with the distortion off, on to the next one. Okay, now on to the next one. This is germanium. I think this is actually my favorite. It's a little intense though. So starting from 0. Okay, and now on to the bit crusher, which again I swear used to live in the modulation menu. I swear it was actually a thing, but it's no longer listed there. So it's either been moved to here or it's completely new, and I can't remember which. But here we go. Turn it all the way down. lastly, we've got the downsampler. So again, starting at 0. So that's neat. All right, so checking out, I think this one sounds actually really good. Oh yeah, that's intense. Now I'm actually going to bring my my own effects chain in. So currently this is the Strymon Big Sky into the Walrus Fable. I'm taking the mix on the Fable up now, and I'm actually going to bring in a different program, so to speak. I'm going to twiddle some knobs for fun. Switch over to a different preset on this. Here we go. So that's fun. Onto space bubbles. So this is just the Fable picking it up and doing some crazy stuff. Okay, fully dry, meaning dry from the polybrute, so I guess now it's dry. Just for fun, see how this comes out with distortion. We'll do something pretty intense. Maybe this one. That was quite a lot. Woo! Hard on the ears. Interesting. I feel like that patch changed somehow. Wait a second. There we go. Okay, what the fuck am I doing? Again, I have to look at the fucking YouTube video to actually figure out what the hell changed. I think the only thing I really give a shit about that I would like to check out is the tuning for the I guess what, the duo or something. So let's try that. Let's just knit. You out there, disaster piece? Anyways, sorry, I'm getting distracted. So we definitely want to go to mono. I guess we actually want to go to unison, right? Well, see, this is the downside, is I feel like I have to look up, I don't know where the fuck these settings are. Okay. MISC, maybe? Voice auto-tuning? That's not right. Unison detune. Okay, maybe this is it. switch over to the more bassy preset program thing on the, whatchamacallit, the Fable, Walrus Fable. And now to try and bring in that distortion from earlier, I'm gonna crank that bitch all the way up. Ooh, my God. Crank down the release, crank up the volume, dial this back a little bit. Cool. Okay, so final verdict, distortion's awesome. The unison thing, whatever. I didn't mess with the routing, but at least the distortions are really cool. I'll have to watch the video again and see if there's anything else exciting, but I think the distortions was kind of the real big thing for me. Really what I was looking for from the video originally was, did they make Polybrute Connect better? And they said they did, but I can tell you after using it, they didn't. Maybe they improved some stuff. I can't tell what they improved because all the issues I had with it still remain. So, they said they fixed it, but I can't really figure out how.